Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be reviewing The Last of Us Part 2, and thanks to a little mishap on the Share Factory side of things on my PS4, I won't be doing videos like I normally do where I just upload a video and then do a Part 2 and 3 and so on. No, thanks to PlayStation Share Factory, I lost a huge majority of all of my footage of the playthrough, so it's just going to be one video for many reasons that I'm going to go over right now. The first thing I want to talk about that really just seems to be the number one thing that's irritating people is Joel's death. Now, I've posted comments previously on other YouTubers' channels, and I've communicated with people in their comments talking about Joel's death, and the huge majority of people seem to agree that it is not the fact that he died, it is simply how Naughty Dog went about killing him. That's what pisses people off the most. I am 100% fine with Joel dying, as much as I loved him as a character and as a father figure to Ellie. I am completely and totally fine with him dying. If you go back and you watch the original release trailer, you kind of get the vibe that that's going to happen anyway. If you didn't get that, I don't know what to tell you, but I think really everyone you going into this game, whether you saw the spoilers or not, Joel was going to die. Having Joel die at the hands of Abby so early in the game, and the way that he did go out, just being shot in the leg and held down and then beat to death with a golf club, I don't think Joel should have gone out that way. And I've seen people argue that Joel and Tommy never would have ended up in that situation due to the way that not only they're both described, but also the way that Joel is in the first game. He doesn't trust Marlene, he doesn't trust anyone, he doesn't trust the guy in the middle of the road that walks out pretending to be hurt. He tells Ellie to put her seatbelt on, and he just presses down the gas pedal and runs the guy down because he doesn't trust anyone. Now, people say it's a betrayal of his character to have him wander in there where Abby is and where all of her friends are and get attacked the way that he did. Personally, I disagree with that due to the fact that him and Tommy saved Abby, and they got attacked by zombies, and they had to run, and then they got attacked again, and then they got on horses, and then they fled on the horses, and then they got to the house, and everybody came out, and they threw Molotovs at the zombies at the gate, and then Joel and Tommy went inside. There was really no downtime for anything to happen. I mean, Joel and Tommy get attacked right after introducing themselves, so I don't really see that as a betrayal of the character. And I know a ton of people are going to disagree with that opinion, but it's my opinion, and that's what you're listening to. If you don't like my opinion, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you disagree with, what you think would have happened. If you see other people's comments, just be civil. Don't be cursing people out. Don't be calling people names. I'm not going to have any of that in my comments, and I will delete any comments I find that are anything like that. I just don't believe it was a betrayal of his character. Now, that does not mean that I like it. While I'm fine with him dying, I wish that Joel could have gone out in a hail of bullets defending Ellie and Tommy and everyone else. He didn't get a hero's death. He kind of died like a bitch. And to have someone spend 7.5 hours of the first game playing as this character, who they grow to love because he's, while I'm not going to sit here and say Joel was a good person, he cared about Ellie, and the love that they develop for each other and the story that progresses there is a wonderful story. While kind of generic, Naughty Dog did something really good with a simple story. So to end this point, I think that them wanting to be super dramatic and try to do something different and kill off the main character from the first game, there's no way that they didn't know that basically anyone who was a fan of The Last of Us 1 was going to get pissed off by this. It's bullshit if they say anything other than that. They had to know this was going to be something that created a tremendous amount of drama around this game. And it wasn't going to be good drama. You can't sit there and have made a game as popular as The Last of Us 1 and think to yourself, oh, killing the main character in this way is going to go over well with anyone who was a fan of the first game. I don't know how far Neil Druckmann had his head up his ass when that decision was made, but again, there's no way you thought that you were going to make this game have that character go out that way and get a good reception for it. There are so many other ways that he could have gone out. He could have gotten pinned down in that house and had a fight with Abby and everyone else, and maybe him and Tommy took out one or two other people. You had enough people in there in the room that were friends with Abby that could have gone down. You could have added a few extra. You already padded the shit out of the game, so what would it have mattered? You could have had Joel and Tommy wrestle around with a few people, maybe get behind the counter, be in a gunfight when Ellie comes up, and maybe he has to do something and gets gunned down trying to save her and Tommy, and Abby and her friends have to run off. Something. Anything other than what you guys did. While I loved the first half of this game, the whole reason that I decided to make a review video to begin with on this game was because you fucked the bed 3 hours into it. Joel deserved so much better than what he got in this game. And as much as I enjoyed the first half, it's really marred by how he went out, and I'm never gonna be able to get past that. Playing the first half of this game was fun. Getting to hunt down these cocksuckers that had to do with Joel's death and sticking a knife in, someone's neck while they're playing a Vita, and just basically checking these motherfuckers off the list, right? And getting closer and closer to your revenge, and watching Ellie, realize what she's doing and everything. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed getting to the point where Tommy was back into the game. I enjoyed all of it so much. But then as I continued to play it, it really dawned on me that, there's so much padding and filler and extra nonsense added in here to make this game into the 25 hours that they claimed that it was going to be, and the 16 or 17 hours that it ended up being for me. If this game had started where it started, you never played as Abby in the earlier portion of the game prior to Joel's death. If maybe you played as Joel or Tommy in the scene where Abby was saved and what led up to their deaths and everything else, and then you played as Ellie for the first 3 days in Seattle, and you kill most all of her friends, and then she comes into the theater, she pops Jesse, and she gets Tommy on the ground, and then you get to their battle in the back of the theater, and that's the end of the game. Ellie letting Abby live or not aside, if that was the end of the game, I think it would have been absolutely fantastic all around. Despite the shit decisions that were made with Joel, I think it would have been fantastic. The game would have been much shorter, much easier for a lot of people to handle, because we will get to another thing that does a fantastic job of pissing people the fuck off. It would have been great to have the game just end there, with Ellie getting some kind of revenge and getting to leave with Dina despite Jesse being dead, Tommy being shot in the head, though he did live. It would have been great to just end the game there, because no one is really expecting Naughty Dog to make this massive long game. Every one of the Uncharted games have been fairly short. The first Last of Us game was 7.5 hours max. No one was expecting a long game, and no one wanted a long game after the way you started this. Now let's move on to the second half of the game. And by second half of the game, I mean the point where Naughty Dog gives you the biggest fingers that they will ever give you, and they try to stick it as far up your ass as possible, adding in a few more fingers, maybe a wrist and some forearm too, where they actually think you're going to have any kind of enjoyment playing as the bitch that killed Joel, the main character from the first game. They tried so hard and succeeded so well in making people love and enjoy playing as. The first Last of Us is not a groundbreaking game gameplay-wise. It did not knock down walls and give you this incredible new thing that games tried to follow years and years after it came out. The gameplay just wasn't the best thing in the world in the first Last of Us. But you know what the best thing in the world, the first Last of Us, was? The characters. So, thinking that anyone at all was going to enjoy playing Abby was a terrible decision. I don't care what you decided to do at the end of the game, halfway through Abby's story, all the stuff that you showed us, how much you tried to humanize her and make her seem like a person, and I don't care. Never once did I ever go, oh man, it sucks, I understand. I know why she did what she did. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go back at some point and play the first Last of Us again, which I just did 5 months ago in January. I'm going to go the fuck back to that game, and I am going to get all the way to the end, and I am going to shoot her father in the face, and then I'm going to leave that room happier than I've ever been with that scene. As Joel says at the end of The Last of Us 2, that if he could go back, he would do it all over again. Well, I can in fact go back, and I'm going to do it all over again. I just wish I could go back to before Abby was born and shoot her father in the face. You're insane as a writer, a director, a developer, a designer, anything, if you thought that anyone was going to enjoy playing as Abby, especially for that fucking extended period of time, the 6, 7, 8 hours that it was, whatever it was. It is ridiculous. I didn't care about her. I didn't care about Mel. I didn't care about Owen. I sure as shit didn't care about Manny, the motherfucker that spit on Joel. I didn't care about the dog, which I think its name was Alice. I don't remember. I was happy to kill it as Ellie because it was a part of Abby's group of people. I just did not care about her at any point at all. When she was wandering around the aquarium in a flashback with Owen, I was legitimately bored. This is the only Naughty Dog game I've ever played where I was bored. My favorite series of games that have ever been released for the PlayStation are the Uncharted games. I adore those games. Nathan Drake is one of my favorite characters of all time. I love Nolan North for everything that he has done with Naughty Dog. There's nothing that could have been done here to make me like Abby. From the moment that she made that last strike on Joel's head and had the brain matter hanging from that golf club, any chance you ever had of making a Last of Us fan like her was fucking gone. From top to bottom, the idea of having us play as the person that killed Joel was absolutely ridiculous. There were some cool set pieces. It is Naughty Dog, so there were some cool set pieces here. I really enjoyed the Haven piece with Abby and Lev on the horse just running through there. It was really cool to go through. At no point was I like, oh, it's fun to be Abby here. You take Abby out of the equation completely, I just enjoyed the way that it looked and felt to maneuver through that scene. It was fun. Personally, my favorite part of the entire game was the little bit of scene there. I can't remember exactly how it goes down, but it's when Abby runs into Manny again and Tommy is in the distance and he's completely massacred Manny's team and he's got Manny and Abby pinned down and he's just trying to pick them off and he's making noises so the zombies come after everything. That was a good idea. I like that as a scene, and I would be totally lying to you if I said that I didn't at least once step out and let Abby get her brains blown out, because I did it. I did that on so many occasions. The time where they put you in the theater on the last of day 3 when you're playing as Abby, and they're like, "Oh hey, here's an idea. Let's go shoot at Ellie." Absolutely no one wanted to start that scene and go try to hunt Ellie down. This woman is the woman that killed Joel. She shot Tommy in the head. She shot Jesse in the head and killed him. It wasn't until after this scene that we learned that Tommy was still alive. So, at the point where they start you off in that theater as Abby and Lev going after Ellie, you are thinking to yourself, this is the woman that has killed Jesse, Joel, and Tommy. Now let's go kill Ellie. No one wanted to do this. This last half of this game is a fucking disaster. I don't know how many different ways I could say it, but I would probably not get tired for quite some time of just expressing how much I hated the last portion of this game. I do want to take a minute to talk about the LGBT side of things in the game. When the spoilers first came out, I saw a ton of people going on about either they hated the idea that an LGBT character was going to be in this game, and they were like, oh, the idea of having an LGBT character, Abby, in this, and all of the ignorance and how did she get a sex change and all this stuff like that. There was that side, and there were the people that were all for it. I can't imagine how many people have deleted their comments now that they just went off and assumed that Abby was a trans character just because she was jacked, instead of wondering if maybe it could have been anyone else. Just assuming that a woman is trans because she has a muscle on her. I would love to know how many people have gone and removed their comments based on that. Now, setting that aside, let's take a look at Lev, the Seraphite, or the ex-Seraphite that meets up with Abby when Abby is being hung. Yara and Lev get involved in that situation, and they save Abby, and Yara later dies. So Abby and Lev are together for a while, not together, but they are basically stuck with each other. And we learn that Lev is trans, and there are some other things involved in there, but I'll state this now. I have zero problem with that. I just don't understand why it had to be there. Like, this is a game about Ellie getting her revenge, or it's supposed to be a game about her getting her revenge. I'm not sure why psycho-religious cults and a transgender character and 8 hours of playing as Joel's killer needed to be in this game. I'm fine with it. It didn't detract from the story. Honestly, they did it the best way they possibly could. I mean, it wasn't a huge, big deal, really. At least it didn't seem that way to me. So I'm fine with it. I just don't understand why they felt like they needed to get a couple of extra people who are, looking for a reason to like something because, it's in somewhere. If it's in a TV show, it's in a movie, you just add that in there. It felt to me like it was added in there just so they could be kind of with the times. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, just let me know. Now we're going to talk about the weapons and the skills in the game. As far as the weapons go, I'll be perfectly honest, of all the ones that I found, I ended up not liking most of them. Um, I didn't really enjoy anything that Abby had. I found Joel's pistol, or his revolver, I should say, and tried to use that for most of the game just because it was Joel's. And playing as Ellie, I wanted to use Joel's weapon. It felt much better to, gun down people from Abby's crew with Joel's gun. But other than that, there was nothing special about the skills in the game. There was nothing special about the weapons in the game. The skill tree is small. This is coming from a Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and Path of Exile player. I do expect more from a skill tree. I know those are different types of games. That's not an excuse to have a small skill tree, especially a small skill tree with skills in it that I think are absolutely worthless. Like, there are so many useless skills in this game that I can't imagine why you would ever use. The next thing I want to talk about is the stealth slash difficulty slash AI in this game. I found that about halfway through day 3, I had to dump the difficulty a little bit, not because of how much damage I was taking, but because I felt like I was attracting enemies. Like, I would go into an area, and I was playing, I think, on moderate or medium or whatever the setting was. It was like the middle of the road setting. And I would come into an area, have not been detected. I would be prone in tall grass, and enemies would just wander to me all the time. Like, and I don't mean enemies with dogs. I just mean your run-of-the-mill wolf or seraphite with a gun. They would just be like, oh, hey, I'm going to go check this corner on the side of a house with a gate next to it for absolutely no reason. I then figured out when I dumped the difficulty down a little bit that they stopped being attracted to my character for no reason. So, as far as the AI in the game goes, they wander to you for no reason, which I absolutely hated. Even playing on the difficulty that I did, I didn't feel like they were too smart. They, yell out, go around her, or go around, do something, and they're yelling out what they're going to do, so you can just peek around as soon as they come out of cover and blow their brains out. The AI in the game was not great. The stealth in the game, with the issue that I just spoke on, is really It really is. It's just There's nothing really to talk about with it. I wasn't expecting a huge breakthrough in stealth mechanics from Naughty Dog, and I was right to think that. I didn't get it. We're going to talk about the graphics of the game. I played it on a PlayStation 4 Pro. The game looks fantastic, in my opinion. I couldn't have really hoped for a better looking game. I've been enjoying some virtual photography on the game via the people that I follow on Twitter since I finished my playthrough, and it's gorgeous to look at. I love the graphics on the game. You can stop just sometimes in areas. You can look at the water, you can look at your characters, the horses, the buildings, the grass. It's a very pretty game to look at. So it may be one of the only things that I think they truly did well. Now we're going to talk about the overall story. I know we've definitely been aggressive thus far on points of the story, but I wanted to kind of push it together and be like, this is what I think overall on the story. So, the game is about Ellie going after Abby for killing Joel, and Ellie goes after everyone who was in the room. I'm fine with this as a story. I understand they wanted to talk about the cycle of violence, and what Joel did started what Abby did, and that started what Ellie did, and so on. I get that. I'm fine with that being the story. It just would have been amazing if the story had been Abby kills Joel, Ellie hunts down and kills everyone in the room that was involved. let's say at the end she still spares Abby like she did in the natural true ending to the game. Whatever. Don't fucking make people play as Abby. It was a terrible decision. It was the worst decision in the game, in my opinion. It is the worst decision that Naughty Dog has ever made as a game developing company. Sure, kill Joel. Don't make us play as the main character that killed her. Don't do it. And then you get to the end of the game as Ellie, and you don't get to kill Abby. Which, a lot of stupid shit happened in this game. A lot of stupid shit. But I never felt more irritated and offended than I did when Ellie let Abby go after their fight in the water at the end of the game. I was so insulted that I was not given the choice to kill this bitch. I vocalized throughout the game as I played that I would not refer to her as Abby. She was SFB, stupid fucking bitch. The story was great for the first half of the game, taking a little bit away from Joel's death, sure, but it was great. I was fine, so fine, with hunting down this stupid fucking bitch and all of her friends and gunning them down, sticking a knife in their neck, and just watching all this bad shit happen to him as Ellie learned about all this violence and watched what she was doing and seeing what was happening to everything based on her actions. And then you go and just make me play as Joel's killer. Ruined everything. Everything. So overall, with all of the things that I have discussed, would I recommend to anyone who has not played The Last of Us to play The Last of Us? Yes, I would recommend that you go out and you get a copy of The Last of Us 2 and you play it for yourself and you make your own decision on the game. Wait till it comes down in price. It may take a year, it may take 2, it may take a month after all of the Metacritic reviews. But play it for yourself. Don't sit on YouTube, don't go to Metacritic, don't wander through comment sections and whatever your own. Don't talk shit about this if you have not played it. That's ridiculous. Don't watch a video on someone else playing it and make your comment about how you watched PewDiePie or you watched Tyler 1 play the game and that's what you're going to use. Don't do that. Play the game for yourself. Get a feel for the controls, experience wandering around in these claustrophobic areas, and play it, experience it for yourself. And if your opinion's still the same, cool. Go to GameStop and get your money back in the 18 hours it's going to take you to beat this game. But don't bash it without having played it. Go out there, get it, play it. What will I rate this game, however? I would give The Last of Us Part 2 a 5 out of 10. It did a ton of things wrong. It did far less right. But I did enjoy playing the first half of the game. So I will say that the point from Ellie and Dina getting to Seattle to the end, or right up to the end of day 3, and then going after Abby at the end of the game as Ellie and going through the town and finding her on the post near the beach, and the fight minus the end of the fight was good. So half the game gets a good score, the other half gets a bad score because it was shit. So yeah, guys, that is my review of The Last of Us 2. If you liked any of this, if you didn't like it, just hit me up in the comments below. Follow me on Facebook or Twitter. You can send me messages. have the time to respond to everything right now. So if you post something on my in my comment section, if you post something on my Twitter, if you send me a message, if you contact me on Facebook, if you contact me on Instagram, any of that, I will do my best to get back to you, and we can talk about any of this. You can make suggestions for other stuff you'd like me to cover. I am currently going over the entire Assassin's Creed series, and I am waiting on Valhalla. I already have Ghost of Tsushima pre-ordered, I have Cyberpunk pre-ordered, I have AC Valhalla pre-ordered. I will be covering all of those on my channel. This has been my first review video, so if you've liked it, show me a little bit of love, hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't already, and get in those comments and let me know what I can do better. If you agreed with my opinion, if you disagreed with my opinion. Thank you so much for watching.